Awesome. Okay, so embosser overview. We have a lot of different embossers. They all kind of have a specific use, but they all can kind of do everything at the same time. So we thought it'd be a good idea to go through each one of the embossers separately and also go through uh, how all the embossers compare with each other. There's a lot of different technology that we have here between the power dot and the tiger dot, or double-sided, single-sided, ink options. So yeah, we have a lot of different stuff. Each one each one's a little bit different, but they can all fit the needs that you're looking for. It's just basically to get the right emboss. We want to make sure that what you're using it for is the primary reason that was designed for. So we are going to cover more this information more in depth on the week of the 16th. So we're going to cover the Rogue sheet and the Rogue track on December 16th at 9. We are going to cover the Elite and Premier on Tuesday, December 17th at 9. We're also going to cover the Delta. We're going to skip Wednesday, and then the Delta and Columbia is going to be on Thursday, December 19th at 9, and then the Spot Dot and Embrail is going to be on Friday, December 20th at 9. So we're going to cover everything, but then we're going to dive into a little bit more in depth onto each embosser. So if you have one you're specifically interested in, or if you own one of these and you would like to learn more about how to use it, I'll add the links here at the end of the webinar on how you can sign up for those, and then we'll also send an email out as well. So what all View Plus embossers can do. All of the embossers can print Braille. All of them can print tactile graphics, and all of them can do multi-dot height. Every one of our embossers does up to 8 different dot heights. We've also started to do color patterns in the last couple of years. All of the embossers can do color patterns. So the multi-dot heights and the color patterns are two of the big ways that our tactile graphics really stand out, and all of the embossers can do that. Every new embosser that's purchased is shipped with the latest version of the Tiger software suite. Currently, we are on version 9. Version 9 came out with a bunch of really cool new features. So yeah, that's a great piece of software. All of the embossers are also compatible with either Windows, Mac, or Linux. And the big one is they can print from any software. Dan has this saying that these are not embossers, these are printers. So any piece of software out there that has a print button, we can print from. Traditionally, you'll have the software compatibility at the bottom that says, there's Duxbury, MathType, Dancing Dots, Braille 2000, Tactile View. A lot of these are industry kind of standard software. Duxbury is very popular, Braille 2000, Tactile View. A lot of these are tools that you guys may be using. You can still use those with the View Plus embossers, but these pieces of software have an emboss button, so the software does all of the calculations and then sends the file to the printer. Our printers can accept that file, and they can also do the processing as well because we have a printer driver. So if you're using Word or Adobe Illustrator, or if you have a CAD file or something like that that has a print button, I've even printed from like your desktop from like a Windows image viewer. So if you have something that has a print button, all of our embossers can receive information from the print button. By default, the embossers don't come with Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, but you can add the capability for Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to any of our embossers via the Tiger Box. Tiger Box is a great little device that you can plug in. It allows Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. It will also do, you can store files on it. So if you have a file that you're printing regularly, you can print that without having a computer. There's a lot of features built into the Tiger Box. You can also do, I know on iPhones it's called AirPrint. I think Androids has a similar print, but I know you can print directly from your mobile phone. We've had one of the shows, there was a young gentleman that had his phone. It was about ready to the battery on his phone was about ready to die, and he had directions in an email to a restaurant that they were supposed to be meeting at later that night. He came up to the booth. We connected his phone to the Tiger Box via Wi-Fi, and he printed out his email, and it did all of the translation in Braille. And he had printed directions on how to get to the restaurant, which was really cool. With that, there was no internet connection or anything. It just connected directly via Wi-Fi. You can connect it to the internet. It also helps you network it if you want to have a Wi-Fi printer. Um, so Tigerbox is a great little machine. And the great thing is if you bought an embosser already and you didn't buy the Tigerbox, you can still go back and buy that to add that functionality to your printer. Um, Obviously, all of the printers come with free driver and firmware updates. We do all of our design and our software development. Uh, a lot of um, a lot of the updates to like the Tiger software suite, the firmware, all of that stuff is done in-house. Um, Quite often, we'll have somebody that'll point out some feature or sometimes a bug that needs to be fixed because we have everybody in-house that works on that. Um, a lot of times we'll be able to release an update sometimes within a couple hours to a couple days, and then that gets posted online, and you can do updates for either TSS drivers for firmware, and so yeah, free updates on that. The With TSS though, the updates are free for the version that you got sent with. You can't upgrade that if you want. All of the embossers can print math, science, music. And all the embossers come with a standard 12-month warranty. You can purchase an extended warranty with that. Um, that extends warranty up to 5 years. It's not just a warranty though. The cool thing about our extended warranty is it is an extended warranty and maintenance plan. I like to tell people that the extended warranty portion of it is uh, that's not the biggest benefit. We have a lot of people that will buy that specifically for maintenance because it does come with free maintenance on there. So you can send the embosser in once a year to do the tune-up. We rarely see issues with warranty stuff on there. Sometimes it does happen. They are electronic devices, so sometimes it does happen. But the majority of the extended warranty that we see are people sending them back in for tune-ups, and we can clean out anything on them and tune them up. I do have down here at the bottom listed the software compatibility. These are some of the industry standards, but we already covered that. And the and more is basically anything with a print button. So going into the extended warranty a little bit more, this covers that it is an extended warranty and a service plan that includes the annual factory maintenance and inspection of your embosser. What that maintenance does is we'll do firmware updates or upgrades. We'll also do a cleaning and inspection. Sometimes the embossers that are, they'll get paper dust and debris in there a little bit from printing quite a bit. We also lubricate all the moving parts. Some of the printers will have a platen, and we can do alignment on that. We also clean all the electronic components, test the condition and the belts in there. And if when you get it back, basically it's going to be in a new embosser working state. We do a really thorough factory maintenance. On average, it usually takes about 5 working days to get the embosser back up and running. Also, with the warranty and repair, the unit is refurbished to top working condition. And this also has about a 5-day turnaround on it. All parts are either repaired or replaced as needed. So I guess let me pull the chat open here so I can. We're gonna do some questions. Out of the embossers that everybody has, does anybody know? Do you have? I think Greg, you've got some Pix Blasters. And so with the embossers, does anybody know if they have the higher resolution with 100 dpi or the 20 dpi? We got somebody typing here, so oops. So while he's typing, I will. So I'll go over this. The the 20 DPI traditionally was off of a platen, so we had a drum in there that the solenoids would punch into, and there was little grooves in the platen that made the dots fixed. They were set at 20 DPI, making it very grid-like. So when you see a circle on here, um, the circle the dots can't line up in a perfect circle, so it kind of stair steps that. Let's see, we got a couple responses here. I'm gathering info. We don't have an embosser currently. We also have an Elite with color and connect. Yep, awesome. I believe the Pix Blaster is 100 DPI. That is absolutely correct. So traditionally, like with the Elite, so we have the Elite, we have the Elite Premier, the Spot Dot, um, are probably the two main ones that still have the metal platen in there, and so those are going to be 20 DPI machines. And there's definitely a benefit to having that, but for certain things, there's a benefit to having the 100 DPI as well. Um, so you'll notice on some of these here with the lines for the arrows, it can't do a gradual line with the 20 DPI. So when you get the 100 DPI, the tactile graphics tend to be a lot clearer. And there was kind of a shift over the last 5 years. So when we first started making embossers, everything was a solenoid punching into a platen, which gave it that fixed 20 DPI grid. We came out with the Columbia, which is the same as the Pix Blaster, and we have a totally new technology for View Plus that does that, which the solenoids punch into a cup that moves with the carriage. So that allows a much higher resolution there. Um, and and basically since there is no platen, it doesn't need to be aligned with that, which allows the perfect circles here, the nice diagonal lines, um, for clear uh, for for clear lines for creating graphics. Now, when we had made the Columbia and the Delta, this was the new technology that we wanted to use for this, and we also used a different dot. So traditionally, we had always had the Tiger dot, which we'll cover here in a second. Um, and after creating that, there was a lot of people that were very interested in the Tiger dot, but having a lot higher DPI in it, which is where the Rogue came in. Um, so depending on what type of DPI you're looking for, there can be there can be a couple different machines for that. So the the 20 DPI is going to be the Elite, the Premier, and the Spot Dot. The 100 DPI is going to be uh, the Columbia, the Delta, the Rogue, and the Embraer. So Tiger dots versus power dots. So traditionally, uh, the Elite, the Premier, and the Spot Dot have printed into that platen that has given us the traditional Tiger dot. Um, that dot is fantastic because it is a little bit smaller than the power dot. That allows the dots to be for tactile graphics. It allows them to be a little bit closer, and it makes the graphics kind of easier to read. But they're not the standard Braille dot. So when we came out with the power dot on the Columbia and the Delta, that was trying to get as close to the standard Braille dot as we could get. Um, and then the Rogue was after we created the power dot on the Columbia and Delta. We used the same technology from the Columbia and Delta for the high resolution 100 DPI, but we also did um, the Tiger dot because that is more of a tactile graphics focused machine. Um, some of the machines we have a lot of machines that will not print ink. They will just do embossing. We have some machines that will do black ink only, and we also have some machines that will do color ink. Um, So the no ink, we have the Embrail, we have the Rogue, the Elite and the Premier, uh, the Columbia and the Delta. And with with that, I mean, this is what they will print by themselves. Um, as far as the black ink only, we can either do the Elite with the Ink Connect or the Premier with the Ink Connect. Um, and as far as color ink goes, we have the Spot Dot that will do. Um, it is small sheet feed or a small sheet feed 2-in-1 printer, so you can do up to 8.5 by 11 sheets. We also have the Elite with the new Color Ink Connect, and then we have the Rogue Sheet and the Delta, which are both two pass. I know we have this listed over in the no ink option. The embosser itself will not print um, will not print ink, but with the two pass, we've got the alignment calibrated in there to where you can print out the ink on your office printer. We've done this quite a bit for shows where we'll print out like an 11 by 17 cartoon or uh, diagram um, on that larger form factor paper, and then we'll run that through either the Rogue Sheet or the Delta, um, and also hit print on there. And the Delta will do the embossing, or the Rogue Sheet will do the embossing, and then your office printer will do the ink on it. So the interline versus overlay text on here. So the printers within the Tiger software suite, you have the option of specifying where you want the ink to be. So if you have either a Spot Dot or a Elite or a Premier with an Ink Connect, um, these will these will print ink uh, with the embossing. And on the left, so we have this inner line where the ink will print and between the lines of the braille, or you can overlay the ink. And so with inner line, you can either do it above or below the braille. But all of that is a setting within the Tiger software suite that you can specify where you want. Okay, and then um, as far as the different um, inner point options go, so we have single-sided only, which is the Embrail, and we also have the Rogue embosser, so the Rogue track and the Rogue sheet, um, and then also the Spot Dot. Um, but if you want single or double-sided, you're either going to want the Elite, the Premier, the Delta, or the Columbia. And so on the left side here, it looks like, so kind of going back to the dot types, just by looking at the paper, you can kind of tell the difference here. So this one here is going to have the rounded dot instead of the tiger dot that we have on the center one here. So the rounded dot is going to be either the Embrail or the Columbia or the Delta. And so knowing that this is single-sided with the rounded dot, that is going to be the Embrail with the power dot. The middle one here, we have double-sided, and we also have the tiger dot. So double-sided is going to be Elite or Premier, um, or it's going to be double-sided is going to be any of these, but the Elite or the Premier is going to have the tiger dot. So this was printed on either an Elite or a Premier. And then over here, we have the opposite of that, where it is double-sided, but it is the power dot, meaning that this is either a Columbia or a Delta. The other option we have is tractor feed or cut sheet paper. So depending on the paper type you're looking for, we have a couple different options here. So the tractor feed paper tends to be more of like the production level of uh, uh, paper type. A lot of people that are printing a large amount of uh, a large amount of sheets can usually tend to gravitate towards tractor feed. This does really good for you can set up to print you know 100 sheets and then leave for work and let this print while you're gone. The cut sheet ones They do have their benefit because the cut sheet allows, like with the Rogue Sheet or the Delta, um, you can kind of get a little bit creative with having a different printer print the ink, and then you can print the tactile on here. And it also has a lot more variation in size. We've seen people that have printed on some unique sizes of paper that you can get with the cut sheet. It is like any other printer, though. Occasionally with the cut sheet, things don't feed correctly straight, and you can, it's not common, but occasionally it's more susceptible to like misfeeds or something like that. And the Embrail can switch between both. So the Embrail primarily is a tractor feed uh, embosser, but you can feed single sheets of paper into the Embrail, which is a really cool feature. The Embrail is also kind of our personal embosser. Um, it's not super fast, but it checks a lot of boxes. And so we'll cover the Embrail here, kind of from a high level. Um, and we'll go through each one of the embossers like this. So the Embrail is either tractor feed or cut sheet. Um, it's we take this one to all the shows, and it's pretty cool. People come up and they're impressed with how small it is. Um, it will do single-sided braille and graphics, and it only does 25 characters per second, which is, it's the next step up is either the Columbia or the Delta, and those are quite a bit faster. But this one you still get the 100 DPI. The little embosser only weighs 11 pounds, so if you're needing an embosser for portability, this is great. We have a little Embrail carrying case, and we have seen people that sometimes will need to take an embosser from school to school throughout the district. This is a great option because it's portable. You can print on paper that is 3 inches to 8.5 inches wide, um, and this is the Tiger Plus graphics. Um, and so normally this embosser is rated for about 1,000 text pages per month for duty cycles. So even though it is kind of our entry level personal embosser, you still can print a pretty substantial amount on this embosser. It's kind of its highlights is it's has a low cost, it's small, and it's very portable. And so this one here, interesting thing about this one has a platen in it, just like the Elite or the Premier, but the platen in this one is polymer. Um, so it still allows us to have that 100 DPI resolution. So this is kind of a special little machine. I like the Embraer. Some of the things here's some of the examples of its printouts. So we have a map here of the United States that we've got a higher dot height for the border, and then we've got a fill here of a lower dot height. We've got some braille on the middle one with some tactile graphics in there. It looks like we've got some squares, um, and then some braille over here on the right side. So great little machine. The spot dot is unique, and I like the spot dot because it's an older embosser, but it's in a class of its own. It has the ability to do cut sheet paper, um, and it also does color ink and tactile graphics all in one pass. It'll do 100 DPI of either color or black ink, and it'll do 50 characters per second. But it does have the platen in it, so it will do 20 DPI tactile resolution. Um, and with that, this is similar to the Embraer. You can print smaller paper, so 4.3 inches to 8.5 inches wide, and this has the same duty cycle of about 1,000 pages per month. Um, this embosser also, has color ink that will go with that. And so here on the next page, we have a couple examples here. Sometimes if you're working with students that are low vision, the color along with the braille or tactile can really be a pretty big benefit. With that platen on there, I had mentioned that there's some points when the platen is really beneficial in tactile graphics, and where I think that really shines is in things like bar charts or fills. Um, Personally, I kind of like the platen for some things, because if you look at the red lines on these bars, these red lines, the dots are lined up perfect. And the reason they're perfect on there is because it it only has a 20 DPI print. So where the dots are placed has to be in a very specific spot. You'll also notice over here that the fill dots uh, on the flower are also in a grid. So sometimes that's really nice to have it that way. But with this, you have cut sheet, all three examples, full ink, or full color ink, and tactile graphic and braille, all in one pass. Um, so the Spot Dot is a pretty versatile little machine for what it is. The downside to the Spot Dot is it only prints up to 8.5-inch wide paper. So most of the time we see this on um, the standard letter size paper of 8.5 by 11. The Columbia and the Delta. So we came out with this a couple years ago. Actually, it's a little more than that now. But the Columbia and the Delta really revolutionized the technology that we're using. With having that really high DPI of 100 DPI. And both of these machines are very similar. So the technology inside of them very similar. The Delta is the cut sheet option, and the Columbia is the tractor feed option. Both of these will do double-sided print. These will print up to 120 characters per second, so substantially faster than the 25 characters per second for the Embraille. These will do about 400 pages per hour if you're doing A4 paper. And as far as the DPI goes, this is 100 DPI. So this was the technology that we started to go towards for the cups and the dies on the solenoid, to where they'll move to where that way it drastically increases the resolution. These here will go up to a 12-inch wide paper. So most commonly we see 11.5 by 11. With the Delta, it's really common for us to print out 11 by 17 on like a cardstock. And 11 by 17 is a really standard size for an office printer as well. So you can print out the ink on your office printer and then put that in the Delta to have that emboss that over top of that. This one here has the Tiger Plus graphics as well, and also has a monthly duty cycle of 1,000 pages per month. So both of these great machines. So on the left side here we have the the tactile only, which is how the embossers are going to print out. So here we have an asterisk here of the Delta samples with color printed in the two-pass method. So this here was the center one and the right one are done with, we've printed out the ink on the office printer and then ran the same ink sheet through the embosser and hit print on that, and then it aligned the tactile with the ink. The thing I will point out, though, is if you look here on the gray, the fill on here, the dots are a lot closer together, but they're not perfectly aligned in a grid. Some people like this better. So this is the 100 DPI over the 20 DPI. And this one here was printed out in the multi-dot heights for color patterns. The one on the right, which all embossers can do, they can all print the different color patterns. They can all do the multi-dot height. The one on the right is a great example of the patterns for colors and the color pattern fill. So we have, for this one here, Lindsay usually likes to use patterns that represent what colors would be. And so we've got, I think on that table, blue is a wave. We've got red as a brick. This one here, the green, I think looks like grass. And I think the yellow is kind of rays. So this is a good example, and all of the embossers can print the patterns, but I think this is a great example showing the Delta and what it can do with the ink alignment and the ink alignment with the tactile as well.
So we have a question from Greg that says, can a 100 DPI embosser be adjusted to emboss at 20 DPI?
Yes, it can. Um, so you can either um, you can set that up to print out either one. So we have, especially with the Rogue, which I'll get to, which I'll get to next. And so the Rogue is a 100 DPI embosser. Um, the Rogue is actually, let's do the Rogue next, and then I'll come back to the Elite and the Premier. Um, so we used to have the Max, and the Max was a 20 DPI embosser. It had the platen. It was very similar to like the Spot Dot or the Elite or the Premier. Um, and Smarter Balanced created a bunch of files for that that were kind of the standard for testing. When we created the Rogue, we use the same technology for the Rogue that we have for the Columbia and the Delta, giving that 100 DPI resolution. But you can print that. You can set it to print files or create files um, that are 20 DPI, so it works with those Smarter Balance files. Um, so yeah, you can adjust the resolution on that to go backwards if you want. So if you have I know you have an Elite with Color Ink Connect. Um, if you want to create files for your Pixblaster, which is the same as the Columbia or the Delta, that also have that 20 DPI, you can go back and do that. And I'll show you how to do that on the next one, or we can set up a one-on-one call, and I can show you how to adjust those settings. Um, so the Rogue, this was an interesting embosser because the Columbia and the Delta were a hit. The 100 DPI um, really kind of changed things. Plus the power dot changed things. But when before we came out with the power dot, we were kind of the weird dot people because the pyramid dots was not an industry standard. Um, but there was kind of a following behind it, and there was people that really enjoyed the Tiger dot because for tactile graphics, the Tiger dot is a really nice dot for graphics. It's not the best for Braille, but it is a really nice tactographic dot. Um, so people wanted the high DPI, and they kind of wanted the the Tiger dot for a tactographics machine, um, which is why we had worked on creating the Rogue. Um, and instead of doing two different models like the Columbia and the Delta, like we did for um, the power dot versions, we just made one, which was the Rogue, and you can either get the tractor feed version or the sheet feed version with the Rogue sheet or the Rogue track. Um, this does high quality braille. It is single sided though, because this machine has the Tiger Dot. It is more focused on tactile graphics. This machine will only do single sided. But here's the catch to it. Um, it is very very fast. So traditionally with like the braille or with the Columbia or the Delta, both of these are rated at 120 characters per second. But the 120 characters per second on the Columbia or the Delta is double-sided printing. Uh, since this is single-sided printing, if you're only printing single-sided, this machine has all of its efforts going into single-sided. So the Rogue is a very very fast machine for printing. Uh, if you don't need double-sided, um, it's rated to print up to 400 pages per hour. It does have that 100 DPI that can be switched into 20 DPI. This does from 7 to 12-inch wide paper. It does have the Tiger Plus graphics, and again with the 1,000 text pages of duty cycle. We did have that listed here as the backwards compatibility for the Max files, being that you can reduce that down to the 20 DPI. And let me go back to the Elite. And actually, okay, so we have the Rogue. Um, so I love the Rogue. So we have the Rogue, which has different print files here. So we have the one on the left and the one on the right are we've printed ink on an office printer and then ran that ink through or ran that inked page uh, through the embosser and hit print there. So normally the center one is how it's going to come out without doing the two pass printing. Um, but I just to me it's impressive to see that like stuff like the snake here. This one here we have the different the different patterns. Um, so we have kind of a square pattern for the red. You'll notice here that this is the 100 DPI, so this is not a backwards compatible max file, but you'll notice the dots are not aligned perfectly for uh, in a perfect grid. Uh, and then we've got the vertical lines here for the yellow, uh, and again here for on the respiratory system we have the 100 DPI again, but this is not a color pattern fill. This is a multi-dot fill. So lots of different options there for how you want to print the file for each one. And you'll notice too in the center here, this has kind of that pyramid shaped dot that was what View Plus, when people refer to the Tiger embossers, most of the time that's what they're thinking of, is that pyramid shaped dot, which has become so iconic in tactile graphics. So the Elite and the Premier, these are the workhorses that we have. So we have these are continuous tractor feed paper. They will print double-sided or single-sided. The Premier will print 100 characters per second, and the Elite will do 200 characters per second. These work off the Platin. The Platin uh, tends to be a very reliable option for production level printing. That does make it a 20 dpi tactile resolution. Uh, these will do anywhere from 4 to 12 inches wide. Very common to see 11 and a half by 11 paper. And then these are substantially heavier duty embossers. These will print up to 10,000 pages, text pages per month. And both of these also are able to, well, not both of these, but the Premier and the Elite are capable of having the ink connect attached to them that will print black ink only. And then the Elite, we just came out with the Color Ink Connect that is fantastic. So the Color Ink Connect allows color ink or black ink along with tactile graphics that only Elite 200. And so we have a couple different examples here. So on the left side, this is the rainbow diagram here. This is off of the Color Ink Connect that we have tactile and color all in one pass. Below that, we have a Braille sheet with just Braille. The center here, we have the center and the right, we have Braille and math, and we also have a map. Both of these are done on, this is done on either Premiere with an Ink Connect or an Elite with an Ink Connect that is just the black ink only. So a couple different options there. Depending on what you're looking for a long time, we had a lot of people that they wanted the ink text on the Braille. And so the Elite or the Premier with the color or with the Ink Connect was the go-to option. And now with the color Ink Connect, we really saw the need for having color with the Rogue Sheet, the Delta, the Spot Dot. All of those have uh, been a pretty big hit that has led us to develop the Color Ink Connect. The Color Ink Connect, nothing out there really can touch it for speed. And for speed, it prints out amazing quality as well. So we do have this listed on the website, but this is kind of the Embosser Selector Guide. So we've went over a lot of different things on what it is that each embosser does. So if we have, where did my mouse go? So we have the Spot Dot and the Embraille. We have the Premier, the Elite, the Columbia, the Rogue, and the Delta listed on here. So as far as paper size goes, if you're okay with the smaller size, the Spot Dot or the Embraille, these are the two that will do either letter size or A4. If you need bigger paper, you're going to need to go with another embosser, the Premier, the Elite, the Columbia, the Delta, or the Rogue. As far as the feeding mechanism goes, we have We have the cut sheet or stack feeder on the spot dot. This can either do tractor or single cut sheet on the Embrail. The three of these, the Premier, the Elite, and the Columbia, are tractor only. The Delta is cut sheet only. And the Rogue, we have this kind of bundled here as tractor or cut sheet. When you pick an embosser, you have to either pick tractor or cut sheet. It cannot do both. Um, as far as, oops, bump the trackpad here. Okay. As far as um, the printing goes, Spot on the Umbrella going to be single sided as well as the Rogue. Everything else is going to be double sided. Embossing in characters per second. Spot dot we have is 50. The Umbrella is 25. Pretty much everything else, the Premier is 100. Everything else is 120 except for the Elite. That thing is lightning fast with 200 characters per second. We also have ink options on here, and we don't have the color ink connect listed. That is a brand new one on here. So we have 100 DPI in black ink, but the color ink connect, I believe, is 300 DPI in color. So it's a great color embosser. The Spot Dot and the Embrail, both are USB or Wi-Fi. All of the other ones are USB, Ethernet, or Wi-Fi, so you get the extra options with the Tiger box, or the Wi-Fi with the Tiger box. They all come with TSS. They all have Duxbury support, tactile view support. Basically, if you want to print something and you have a software that you want to use, it'll work with it. So again, we're going to do a more in-depth overview of each one of these. The Rogue is going to be on Monday, and that's basically the same embosser, but it depends on whether you want cut sheet or tractor feed. The Elite and Premier, so that'll be the Elite and Premier. That'll also include the Ink Connect and the Color Ink Connect. I think Dan's going to be leading that one on Tuesday, December 17th. We have the Delta and the Columbia. That one's going to be on Thursday, the 19th. And then we also have the Spot Dot and the Embrail. Those embossers are not really, they don't go together as well as like the Elite and the Premier or the Columbia and the Delta or the Rogue. But they are kind of there are two kind of specialty embossers. The Embrail is great for personal use, portability, and the Spot Dot is kind of in a category of its own, but it's got a lot of really cool tricks that if those tricks are what you're looking for, it's a great embosser.